Jamaica, now one of the top tourist destinations in the world. A world of beauty, fantasy-esque scenery, and some of the most crystal clear blue waters you'll ever see. Home to iconic figures, in the center of an extremely dark and culturally complex history. It's no wonder this island has inspired creativity and art throughout the ages. According to the Center of Visual and Performance Art of Jamaica, Jamaican art forms are a rich simmering brew, a mixture of art and life, a living display of the motto out of many one people. But to really understand Jamaican art, one must first define Jamaican art, and that's easier said than done. So what constitutes Jamaican art? For some, real Jamaican art didn't begin until 1962, when Jamaica officially gained its independence. For others, it dates back to the end of slavery in 1834. Or perhaps real Jamaican art began in 1655 when the British invaded, or maybe in 1509 when the Spanish invaded. So, how far back do you go? When did Jamaican art begin? The answer may surprise you. "1,400 years ago, the Arawak Indians migrated from the basin of the Amazon all the way to the present-day Caribbean. Of the Arawak Indians, it was the Taino tribe that settled in Jamaica and gave it its name, Jamaica. It is with the Taino tribe that Jamaican art began. Here are some examples of zimmies from the Taino tribe. The zimmy describes both a spiritual being and the likeness of a spiritual being. These zimmies had platforms and bowls on the top of their heads, which were used to hold snuff during religious rituals. The snuff was taken to induce hallucinations, and the zimmies were believed to create a channel between the world of the dead and the world of the living. This is a duho. It's a ceremonial stool that was used in the same religious rituals as the zimmy. Scattered across Jamaica are cave paintings left over from the Taino tribe, many of them depicting the Spanish invasion. Unfortunately, due to a combination of disease and aggression, the Spanish completely wiped out the Arawakan race, but their cultural influence still remains in Jamaican art today. 1655. The British invaded Jamaica and battled the Spanish. When the dust cleared, the British were victorious and the influence over Jamaican art radically changed. According to the VPAJ, during the years of English rule, many artists were commissioned to paint portraits of planters and their families. Some of the artists did landscape paintings as well. These paintings gave their viewers a romantic perspective of the sugar colony, painting an ideal, if not glorious, picture of sugar estates. Here's a painting reflecting the British influence. It was painted by John Henry Schroeder, who served as a captain in Fort Balacaris, Jamaica in the 18th century. As you can see, it shows a picturesque scene of the sugar plantations. This fact represents Albert Memmi's idea of the colonizer needing to idolize and justify the act of colonization. Here's another representation that was painted by Isaac Mendes Belisario, who was actually the first ever Jamaican-born artist, by Western standards, of course. Unfortunately, over the next 200 years, not a lot of Jamaican art was produced. During the slave period, art was not a profitable commodity, and therefore not encouraged by the overseers and plantation owners. However, during the mid-20th century, an Afro-Caribbean art movement erupted and made a change following the evolving self-image the island people had of themselves. Much of the art from this movement was created in the style of African carvings and drawings. This sculpture, entitled Mother, was created by Jean Pearson, who was born in 1946. It's made entirely out of bronze casting. These next few paintings are by Carl Parbusing, whose work reflects the changing self-image of Jamaica. He was born in 1923 and lived through the rising of the Jamaican art movement. One of the most significant artists in Jamaica today is Carrie Darby. Darby's work centers around the effects of colonization in the post-colonial world. Of his work, he states, "One senses that the history of the world after the optimism of modernity has given birth to an almost universal atmosphere of uncertainty, and so it seems natural that my work continues to be concerned with the cycles of vulnerability and aggression, disillusion and reconstruction, creation and obliteration."